In this video I'm going to demonstrate a bespoke picking system we wrote for an Exchequer customer who have a tremendous amount of transactions per day, which must be on the vehicle by I think 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So it's a bit of a technical demo because normally loads and loads of orders come in through the telesales plus web orders, which we don't actually deal with, but they all come in. Effectively, the area number is treated as a run number. Each run number is a van going out, and they have multiple locations, mostly in this demonstration for London area. So, as I say, normally all the orders come in through telesales or web. So normally you've got masses of orders. So in order to demonstrate this, I'm just going to use PostTrans, our Excel importer, just to simulate some test orders. So first of all, I'm going to move quite a lot of stock in for 3 different stock items, and then I'm just going to go in here for this one location, and I'm going to place loads and loads of orders for these handful of accounts, and there's possibly only 2 accounts here, but there's 3 stock items. They're going in. They are on run 7 and 15. So effectively the run number is transferred from the area into TH user 1, and we'll see that process in a minute. Let's just post those orders into the system. So that's now posting my orders. Let's just move the status down a bit so we can see that going in. Okay, so that's posted in 33 orders. So the purpose of this is, instead of going into Exchequer and processing one by one, now I know Exchequer now does a lot of this. Originally when it was written it didn't have this functionality, but it goes through and picks out what orders are required, because you can do it with tag numbers. But this has the ability to process them in the background, print a consolidated picking list, and only amend those figures. It is so much more efficient than the standard system. It's kind of an enhanced on steroids operation, I guess. So here I am in the day book on sales orders. I think we said all those orders were for run 7 and 15. So first of all I press process, and you can see now it's picking up any new orders that are in the system, and I can see there's already a batch of orders in the system from a previous process. But what I'm going to do now is create a new batch of orders to process. So here I can pick individual delivery runs for the vans, or I can select all, and they're all up to a certain date. So we're processing for today, so we'd have today's date in there. So let's press process, and now what that's going to do is it's going to create a batch of orders to pick. Okay, so now the screen is showing me there we have a batch of orders, and what the system has done is it's looked at the free stock and it's allocated them to the best customers. So I can't remember which user field it is, but they grade each customers by A, B, C, D. So a customer with grade A gets the stock before a B or a C. So what's happened is it's gone down there, it's allocated whatever it needs to. Those that are in colour have outstanding quantities. Some can be part or fully allocated. So we can see that there. Now what we would do now is print a picking list, which we can send off to our guys in our warehouse. They can go down and write the quantities in there, and then hand it back to someone back in the warehouse, who can then go through and say, well, we didn't pick one of those, there were none of those, so, and there was none of those. And then they can just process that. But of course, they would have actually dismissed that. I've missed out a step there. So let's say that went off to the warehouse. It's coming back. And again, there was my little batch that I just created today. And there's my batch, the one I just edited. So again, yeah, what I was saying is you would go in there and then amend the figures. And you'd probably only had a handful to amend. So then later on, you can then say, I want to finalize everything there. And again, I can select all and process. Now, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to start off a few other bits and pieces in the background. Let's just go into here and say, there's an option that says show what's printing or what? Sorry, show what's being processed. So that there is showing me what's being processed. I think, yeah, it's on refresh every 10 seconds. Now the idea is you have a transaction processor which runs on your server. Now we can run one of those, we can run two of those, we could run 3, 4, 5 of those, 6 of those, 7 of those. We can run a whole host. Maybe 10 would be a little bit too much, but let's just rearrange them there. So they're probably running on a server. The user's using this window here to see what's being processed. Let's just rearrange the screen a bit so we can see our processors at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so let's go in. Like I say, we're now going to finalize that picking. So we've had the sheet back from the guys in the warehouse, and I can say, and of course again I can do individual runs and different locations. They have several different locations, and I can select process, and now we'll say, yeah, we're going to process all them. And now you can see each one of those processes is now picking and turning those SORs into invoices. 189. It looks like we've already got some test data in here, so this is going to take a little while, and you can see there it's just telling us what it's currently processing, how many seconds it took to process those SORs, and it'll just sit there happily, like I say, processing away. Now we can actually prioritize. We can alter in this screen here, we can alter certain runs as having priority over other runs. So if they wanted to get one out of the door quicker and they've already started the process off, they can actually rearrange the order it's processing in to some extent. Now I didn't expect 189 transactions to be in there. There's obviously some test data I must have left in there from my last series of tests, but we should now see a whole series of new sales invoices in the system. So now we've just processed, we're on the last few transactions of the 189. Took a few minutes, I suppose. I did actually open up 6 processes at one point, and I was getting a little bit of contention. It was coming up with a few record locks as it was processing, which means one process is waiting for the other one to stop talking to an individual record. Mind you, if we think about this, we are actually processing a good majority of the transactions to the same account and the same stock items, so you would get record locking conflicts, but the system just handled it beautifully, and I believe we're just about to finish. So this screen here was updating every 10 seconds, so that's what was waiting to be processed. So there's my list of everything that was processed, and of course we haven't actually printed anything yet. So we've gone through now, we sent off the picking list to the warehouse, we brought it back, amended any values, which hopefully wouldn't be too many. We went back into the batch and finalized it. It's now processed that, so we've now got loads and loads of invoices sitting in the system. So what they do is then print off the delivery sheet based on the invoice. So the invoice is the delivery sheet and the invoice are the same actual transaction, which misses out the SDN and the complications of creating one. So next, yes, we need to print. Now, let's go back to our sales orders, and now we'll go print and send invoices. Now, it looks like the file is actually missing from the system. Let me just run it manually. So this is the print invoice window. Let's just close out, because like I say, they'll be running on the server. That's your status, and this has been called up with an Exchequer. Now what we can do in here is we have a whole series of locations. Now they run one outfit in London and multiple locations, and what they do is they email over the delivery sheets for each location to work on. So here we're setting our date, which is the 22nd, which is today, the location, and I think you'll see there it's remembering all the email addresses as you'd hope to expect. So I'm actually sending this one to myself. So here I'm saying let's print all the following run numbers. So I did 5 and 7, so I could actually say let's print only 7. We're going to email it to Sam Smith. If we took that out, I think it goes to the default printer. We can also CC it. So now we can say process that, And now that program is going to go off, and we can just see a little status bar at the top here, which I can't move. I probably can't show you because we're recording. And that has printed off all the following transactions. So there's my list of transactions. Those must have been the ones we imported. And then if I look in my outbox or inbox, because I send it from myself to myself, so presumably it'll be in both. So now we should have an email. So this would have been sent to the warehouse, or like I say, could have been printed to the default printer. And if I open it, it shows us a consolidated delivery note and sales invoice. So that's printed off for the delivery men to run their particular route. So that was route 7 I printed off. So you can see there has several advantages. It prioritizes the stock. It processes a picking list. You process the picking list, bring it back, amend the values, say finalize. The server actually does the load of converting the sales orders to the invoices, so you haven't got users sitting there waiting for it to process. That's all done in the background, and then the print operation takes over. Everything's ready for the print operation to take over and do its business.